The laughter of the council. The chamber of the Galactic Council was larger than any human cathedral. Its walls glowed with strange lights and its ceiling stretched so high that even the tallest alien species felt small inside. Thousands of voices echoed, speaking in dozens of languages, but one sound cut through the noise: laughter. At the center of the chamber stood the human ambassador, a man in a simple dark uniform. He held a tablet with records, images, and data of humanity's newest weapon, the Railgun. His voice was steady, his eyes cold. This weapon will change the balance of power. If the Council ignores our warning, the first fleet that tests us will fall. The response was not silence. It was roaring amusement. The Council leader, a tall insectoid creature with golden plates, leaned forward on his throne. His mandibles clicked as he spoke. Railguns, metal sticks that throw projectiles. How primitive, how childish. His words brought another wave of laughter from the gathered species. To the left, a reptilian admiral raised his scaled hand and hissed, "Do you humans believe you can stand against our shields? No kinetic weapon has pierced them for centuries. Your threats are dust." More laughter rolled through the chamber. It was cruel, sharp, and heavy with arrogance. The human ambassador did not laugh. He did not even blink. He pressed the tablet again, showing a recording. In the video, a long railgun platform on Earth fired a round into an asteroid. The rock split apart like glass, fragments scattering into space. "This is the power of a single test," the ambassador said quietly. "We are not here to fight, we are here to warn. Humanity will defend its borders, and if you mock us, the cost will be yours." A bird-like diplomat shook his feathers and laughed so hard that his wings rattled. "Listen to them. The Deathworlders speak of toys as if they are gods. Council members, should we fear rocks being thrown at us? Huh?" The sound of mocking filled every corner of the hall. Some banged their claws on the floor. Some slapped their tails. Some even imitated the human voice with cruel mimicry. Yet a few members did not laugh. One was an elder from a small aquatic species. His skin shimmered with light. He whispered to his assistant, "I have seen Deathworld inventions before. They may sound simple, but they are never harmless." His warning was ignored, drowned under the storm of laughter. The ambassador stood in silence, his heart heavy, but his resolve stronger than steel. Humanity had sent him not to beg, but to witness. He knew this meeting would end in mockery. Still, he delivered the warning, for history would remember who spoke the truth. The council leader raised one clawed hand, and the laughter slowly faded. His golden eyes glowed as he spoke. "Humanity, your planet is new to the stars. You have no fleets, no legacy, no right to lecture the council. If your kind dares to resist, the first fleet will come, and it will crush your tiny world. Your railguns will not save you." The words hit the chamber like thunder, followed by more cheers and cruel laughter. The ambassador gave no reply. He simply bowed his head, then lifted it again, his eyes blazing with quiet fury. "Then we will meet you on the battlefield. And there only truth will speak." For a moment, silence touched the room, but only for a breath. Then the laughter returned, louder, crueler, shaking the pillars of the chamber. Far away on Earth, the human fleets were not laughing. In hidden shipyards, engineers worked day and night. Railgun cannons the size of skyscrapers were mounted on warships. They hummed with deadly energy, each shot capable of tearing through steel and fire. The soldiers trained. Their commanders whispered to each other, "The council will not believe until they bleed." The ambassador left the council chamber, walking past sneering guards, past mocking diplomats, past banners of alien empires that believed themselves untouchable. His steps were steady, his jaw tight, his mind replaying the sound of laughter again and again. But deep inside he felt no despair, only a grim certainty. One day soon that laughter would turn to screams in the council chamber. The leader of the reptilian fleet leaned toward the insectoid chairholder, his voice dripping with arrogance. "Shall I prepare the first fleet?" "Yes," the leader replied. "Show these humans the meaning of power, and when the ashes of their world scatter into the void, we will laugh again." Their laughter rose once more, rolling across the chamber like a storm, and somewhere in the silence of space, hidden from alien eyes, humanity's railguns waited the silent preparation, while the council chamber shook with cruel laughter. Earth was silent in the hidden shipyards beneath the oceans. In the deserts and in orbit above the moon, humanity prepared. No one smiled, no one laughed, because they all knew what was coming. Engineers worked with hands covered in grease, sparks flying from massive machines. Railgun barrels longer than skyscrapers were being forged, each one built to fire slugs at a fraction of light speed. No shield known to the galaxy could survive the impact. Still, the engineers did not celebrate. They whispered to each other in low voices. They will come soon. In underground bunkers, officers gathered around holographic maps. They studied the approach routes of the Galactic Council's First Fleet. They calculated fuel, trajectory, supply lines. Every detail mattered. One mistake could mean the end of Earth. One commander, an old general with silver hair, spoke quietly. We cannot match their numbers. We cannot match their size. But we will strike where they least expect. And when we strike, the galaxy will tremble. The soldiers trained in silence. Young men and women carried heavy loads, practiced loading railguns, practiced sealing ship bulkheads, practiced fighting in zero gravity. They did not ask if they would survive. They asked only when the call would come. A soldier whispered to his comrade, "The council thinks we are children, let them think that. The shock will be greater when they fall, above Earth." In the shadow of the moon, a secret fleet was being assembled. Dozens of warships with black hulls invisible to most alien sensors, their engines silent, their weapons hidden. Each ship carried railguns that could fire multiple rounds before reloading. The crews moved like ghosts, speaking little, working fast inside one of those ships. A young pilot named Elena checked her console. Her heart raced every time the railgun tests roared. The sound shook the hull, but it filled her with pride. She remembered her father, a miner, telling her, "Humans do not give up. We turn stone into steel and steel into fire." She carried those words like a shield. Back on Earth in a dark command room, the human ambassador returned from the council chamber. His face was tired, but his eyes were fire. The leaders of Earth stood waiting. Presidents, generals, scientists, all silent. He spoke only one sentence. They laughed at us, and the room filled with a heavy silence, until a scientist at the back whispered, "Let them laugh, our answer will be louder." Time passed. Weeks turned into months, and the fleets of the council moved closer. Their arrogance carried them across the stars. Reports came in. Long-range sensors detected alien ships forming in vast numbers. They were confident, careless. They sent no disguises, no decoys, for they believed victory was already theirs. In the hidden bases of Mars, humans watched. Soldiers sat in silence, staring at the stars, waiting for the order. They sharpened their blades, polished their rifles, tested the railguns again and again. When one weapon jammed, it was torn apart and rebuilt within hours. No errors would be allowed in the cold of deep space. Humanity tested a secret weapon, a new kind of rail slug, layered with exotic metals. Its impact released bursts of plasma strong enough to melt through multiple ships. When the test was done, the asteroid target vanished into glowing fragments. The watching crew fell silent. None dared cheer. Only one officer muttered, "They will never see it coming back on Earth." Ordinary people knew little. They saw factories running day and night. They saw rockets launching supplies into orbit. They whispered in markets and schools, "Something is happening. The council mocks us." But why does the government not smile? And though they did not know the full truth, they prepared in their own way. Stockpiling, training, waiting. The ambassador walked through the shipyards one night. Workers covered in dust stopped to salute. He raised his hand. "Do not salute me, salute yourselves. You are the reason humanity will survive." The workers nodded, their eyes fierce. They needed no speeches. Their work was their answer, and still the galaxy laughed. Reports from alien broadcasts showed council leaders mocking humanity, showing clips of primitive Earth cities, calling humans death world insects, calling railguns metal sticks. One alien news anchor even said, "The humans believe they can kill warships with rocks. History will remember this comedy." But in the quiet heart of human space, no one laughed. Instead, they prepared railguns. They loaded slugs. They whispered in the dark, "Let them come." A final meeting was held in Earth's War Council. Holograms of alien fleets glowed above the table. The ambassador stood with generals, scientists, and leaders. His voice was steady. "They are coming. They will strike soon. They believe we are weak. They believe railguns are toys, but when they arrive, the first fleet will fall." No one in the room argued. No one smiled, only silence. Silence heavy with certainty, and in that silence, humanity sharpened its claws. The arrogant Armada. The Galactic Council's first fleet moved through the void like a storm. Thousands of ships stretched across the stars, their hulls glittering with shields, their banners glowing with pride. Alien news broadcasts followed their progress, voices filled with confidence. The humans will be crushed. Their world will be a warning to others who dare to rise. On the bridge of the flagship, Admiral Zareth of the Reptilian Empire stood tall. His scales gleamed under the dim lights, his eyes narrowed. Primitive humans. They believe railguns can pierce us when this war is over. I will wear their planet's soil as a trophy." His crew hissed in laughter, their claws clicking against the controls. Behind him, rows of alien officers shouted reports. Human defense satellites detected primitive designs. "No real threat," another officer barked. "Railgun platforms visible on Earth's surface. They glow with heat, but their output is laughable." Admiral Zerath smirked. "Let them prepare. It will make their fall more dramatic in the chamber of the council." Alien diplomats gathered to watch the fleet's journey on giant holograms, their voices dripping with arrogance. "Look at them, so proud, so certain. Humanity will beg before the weekends." Laughter filled the chamber again, echoing against the walls where humans had once stood in silence. Yet not all aliens shared the joy. In the corner, the elder from the aquatic species whispered to his assistant, "They underestimate Deathworlders. I have seen it before. This silence from Earth is dangerous," but no one listened. His words drowned beneath the noise of cheers. As the first fleet crossed the outer rim, their power was undeniable. Massive battleships with glowing cores, carriers releasing waves of drones, cruisers armed with beam cannons. It was the largest fleet humanity had ever faced. The void itself seemed to bend under their might. On Earth, human command centers lit up with alerts. Red dots filled holographic maps. The enemy had arrived. Generals stood with arms crossed. "No panic, only focus," one general whispered. "The arrogant Armada has entered the theater. Now the silence ends in orbit above the moon. Hidden human ships powered up, their black hulls reflecting no light. Railguns hummed as crews loaded slugs into chambers. The sound was deep and heavy, like a heartbeat of steel. Soldiers sat at their stations, helmets on, their breath steady. They said little, but their eyes burned with fire. In one of the warships, pilot Elena sat in her cockpit. Her hands trembled slightly, but she held them steady on the controls. The voice of her commander came through the channel. "Remember, they believe we are weak, they believe we are nothing. Make them see the truth," Elena whispered back. "Yes, sir. Let them come." The alien Armada broadcast a message across human channels. Admiral Zerath's voice filled the skies. "Humans of Earth, surrender your planet. Surrender your weapons, surrender your pride, or be erased." His words were followed by mocking laughter. Hundreds of alien captains adding their voices in chorus. Their arrogance carried like thunder across the void. The human ambassador, standing in the central war room, listened to the broadcast in silence, his jaw tightened. Then he replied with a single message. "We warned you. We are ready." His words were short, steady, and broadcast across the stars. Silence followed for a moment. Then alien laughter roared again. The council chambers played the exchange live. Aliens leaned back in amusement, their arrogance blinding them. One diplomat clapped his claws. "Listen to them, so dramatic. Their pride will be their coffin." But in the far corner, the aquatic elder closed his eyes, whispering, "Or yours," as the first fleet approached Earth. Their formation spread wide. Battleships in front, carriers in the middle, cruisers and drones forming wings. They filled the dark sky like a tidal wave of steel and fire. Alien captains bragged to each other, "This will be quick. Their cities will burn in hours. Their weapons are toys." But within human ships, the silence remained. Soldiers checked their gear. Engineers ran final tests, commanders whispered orders, and the railguns stood ready, each barrel glowing with the quiet promise of devastation. Admiral Zerath raised his hand high, claws glinting under the lights. His voice shook the bridge. "Today the humans learn their place," the fleet cheered, their voices filling the void. Their arrogance stronger than ever. And in the shadows of the moon, unseen and unheard, humanity whispered only one word: fire. The first shot, the alien fleet drifted closer to Earth. Their ships like mountains of steel and fire, their confidence like armor stronger than any shield. On the bridge of the flagship, Admiral Zerath spread his claws wide. "Prepare to crush them," he hissed, his voice filled with arrogance. Deep in the shadow of the moon, the human fleet waited. The black hulls of their warships blended into the darkness. Railguns hummed, slugs locked into place. Every crew member sat in silence, no laughter, no cheers, only breath held like a bowstring ready to snap. In the command room on Earth, generals stood still as statues. Holographic maps glowed red with the swarm of alien ships, yet their voices were calm. "Hold fire," one whispered. "Let them come closer." The ambassador stood among them, his hands clenched behind his back. His heart pounded, but his face was stone. Alien ships broadcast their demands once more. "Humans, surrender now. Your weapons are useless. Your world is already lost." Their laughter echoed across the channels, mocking, arrogant, certain of victory. Then, without warning, a human commander gave the order. His voice calm, steady, sharp as steel. Fire! The silence of space shattered. A thunder of energy roared as the first railguns unleashed their slugs. The projectiles streaked through the void faster than the eye could follow. Glowing trails of light carved across the darkness. The alien fleet had no time to react. The first shot struck a battleship head-on. Its shields flared for a fraction of a second. Then, shattered like glass, the slug tore through its hull, splitting the massive vessel in half. Explosions rippled across its body, fire and debris scattering into the stars on the alien flagship. Officers screamed, "Impossible. Shields down in one strike." Their voices trembled with fear for the first time. Admiral Zerath's eyes widened, but he snarled, "Coincidence, fire back." But before their weapons could fully charge, the second wave of railgun fire tore through the fleet. Slugs ripped into cruisers, breaking them apart as if they were paper. Carriers filled with drones exploded in brilliant bursts of fire. Entire wings of ships vanished in moments. In her cockpit, pilot Elena gripped the controls. Her ship vibrated with the thunder of the railgun. Her eyes burned as she watched an alien cruiser break apart under a single strike. "We did it," she whispered, her voice shaking. "We broke them." Alien voices filled the comms with panic. "Our shields are useless. They are tearing us apart. How can primitives hold such power?" The arrogance that had filled their voices only minutes ago was gone, replaced by raw fear in the council chamber. The live broadcast stunned the gathered leaders. Laughter turned into silence, their eyes wide as they watched one of the most powerful fleets in the galaxy being torn apart. Some whispered, "This cannot be." Others stared in frozen terror, but none laughed now. The aquatic elder leaned forward, his voice soft but sharp. "I warned you back on the flagship." Admiral Zerath slammed his claws against the console. Titan formation, return fire. "Destroy them!" Beams of energy lanced out from alien weapons, lighting up the darkness, but human ships danced in the shadows, their black hulls absorbing the void. Their railguns reloaded, and again the order came. "Fire!" Another thunder rolled across space, another wave of destruction. Battleships shattered, fireballs bloomed, debris rained across the stars. The alien fleet that had once filled the sky began to thin, their numbers cut apart like grass under a scythe. Elena's voice cracked as she shouted across the comms. "We are winning, keep firing!" Her hands moved fast, her ship dancing between bursts of enemy fire. The railgun beside her roared again, its slug ripping through another enemy vessel. Admiral Zerath roared, "Retreat is not an option. Fight." But his officers no longer looked at him with confidence. Fear spread across their scaled faces. Their claws shook as they shouted broken orders. On Earth, in the command center, the generals stood in silence. No cheers, no victory cries, only cold focus. They knew this was only the beginning. The ambassador's voice broke the stillness. "The First Fleet will learn today humanity does not beg." The alien fleet tried to regroup. But each time they formed a wall, the railguns tore holes through it. Slugs crashed into their ships like meteors. Shields collapsed, hulls broke. Fire filled the sky. The arrogance of the Galactic Council turned into chaos and screams. One alien captain cried across the comms, "They warned us." His voice cut off as his ship exploded into fragments of light. In her cockpit, Elena took a deep breath. Her hands steady now, her fear burned away by fire and pride. "They thought we were weak," she whispered. "Now they know." And still, in the silence of space, the railguns hummed, waiting to fire again. The fall of the fleet. The void was no longer silent. It burned with fire and broken metal. Alien ships that once shone with pride now drifted as wreckage, torn apart by slugs of steel. Humanity's railguns thundered again and again, each strike carving through the arrogant Armada like lightning through dry wood on the alien flagship. Alarms screamed. Flames spread across the decks. Officers shouted in panic. Shields collapsing. Hull breaches on multiple levels. "We cannot hold them." Admiral Zerath slammed his claws against the console, his voice trembling with rage. "Fight, you cowards! Fight!" But his orders met only fear. A railgun slug ripped through the bridge of a cruiser nearby. The explosion lit up the flagship's viewports. Alien crew members froze in horror, their confidence shattered. One officer whispered, "We mocked them and now we are dying." His words vanished in smoke and screams. On Earth, the war room glowed with red lights from the battlefield feed. Generals watched silently as ship after ship was destroyed. None spoke of victory yet. They knew arrogance had doomed the Council fleet, but discipline would secure humanity's survival. The ambassador leaned forward, his voice cold. They laughed at us. Now history will laugh at them in orbit. Human warships moved with deadly precision. Their black hulls cut through debris fields. Railguns fired in rhythm, reload, fire, reload, fire. The crews moved like one body. No wasted motion, no wasted words. Their silence was louder than any battle cry. Pilot Elena gripped her controls as another railgun slug roared past her viewport. It struck an alien carrier. The massive ship erupted. Drones spilled out like sparks before vanishing in fire. Elena gasped, her voice shaking. They cannot stop us. Their pride is falling across the alien fleet. Desperation spread. Some captains broke formation. Their ships turned to flee. But human sensors tracked them. Railguns turned. Slugs fired, escape routes vanished in storms of metal and fire. One fleeing ship exploded in a silent flash. Its captain's last words cut across the comms. Forgive us, the council chamber, once filled with laughter, now sat in horrified silence. Holograms showed their fleet dying, their banners burning, their weapons useless. The insectoid council leader trembled, his golden plates no longer gleaming with pride. This cannot be, he hissed, and this is a dream. A nightmare, the aquatic elder rose. His voice sharp, no, this is truth, back in space. The alien flagship shuddered as another railgun slug smashed into its side. Explosions tore through its hull. Admiral Zarath staggered, smoke filled the bridge. Officers screamed, we must retreat, we must survive, but Zarath roared, never. We are the Council's pride, we cannot run from primitives. His words were drowned by another explosion that sent bodies flying. Human railguns fired again, a synchronized wave. Slugs streaking through the void, tearing into the remaining battleships. One by one they exploded, their wreckage scattering into a graveyard of fire. The once unstoppable First Fleet was being erased. Elena's ship shook as she dodged burning debris. Her eyes wide at the scale of destruction, she whispered, we warned them, and still they came. Her commander's voice answered through the channel, calm, steady. They believed in pride, we believed in survival. Survival always wins. The last alien cruisers fought desperately. Beams of energy flashed across the dark, but their strikes were wild, broken, fueled by fear. Human warships moved with precision. Railguns answered each shot with death. Another cruiser split apart. Another battleship fell silent. Another carrier burst into flame in the war room. Earth's generals finally exhaled. Their eyes met, but still no cheers rose. The ambassador spoke, his voice low. The fleet is falling, but this is not the end. The Council will send more. They will not forgive, but they will never forget this day on the alien flagship. Fire consumed the bridge. Admiral Zarath fell to his knees. His claws burned, his pride shattered. His last words were not of victory, but disbelief. How could primitives destroy us? Then the railgun slug tore through the flagship, and the Admiral's voice was gone forever. Silence spread across the void as the last alien ships burned. The First Fleet, once called invincible, was no more. Only wreckage remained, twisted steel drifting among the stars. Human ships moved through the graveyard, their railguns quiet now. Crews watched in silence, some with tears, some with clenched fists. Elena closed her eyes and whispered, we survived on Earth. People looked up at the night sky, not knowing the details, but feeling the weight of history. The silence of their leaders told them everything. Humanity had faced the galaxy's pride, and humanity had won. And across the galaxy, whispers spread, whispers that carried fear, whispers that carried respect. The First Fleet has fallen. The humans warned us. Railguns shattered the pride of the Council. The arrogant Armada was gone. But the legend of humanity had only just begun. The fear spreads news traveled faster than light. Before the wreckage of the First Fleet had even cooled in the void, whispers spread from system to system, from empire to empire. Humanity had stood against the Galactic Council's pride, and humanity had won. The Council chamber, once filled with laughter, now drowned in silence. Alien leaders stared at the burning holograms of their fallen ships. The insectoid council leader gripped his throne so hard that cracks spread along the golden plates. His voice broke with fury. Lies, this must be lies, but no one answered. The truth glared at them in the wreckage floating in orbit of Earth. The aquatic elder stood slowly, his shimmering skin glowing with sorrow. We mocked them, we ignored their warnings, and now the galaxy will tremble at their name. Many leaders turned away, unable to meet his gaze across the stars. Alien citizens watched in horror as their news channels broadcast the images. Broken fleets, shattered banners, screams of survivors begging for rescue. Children of other species whispered to each other. The humans destroyed them. Merchants spoke with shaking voices. Deathworlders are dangerous. We should never have mocked them. Soldiers in distant armies stared at the footage, their claws trembling, their feathers falling, their voices quiet. Railguns, unstoppable railguns in the markets of the avian worlds. Traders who once sold human relics as jokes now locked them away, afraid to display anything connected to Earth. In the reptilian colonies, riots broke out. Families screamed at their leaders. You sent our sons and daughters into that fleet, and the humans erased them. In the insectoid hives, silence spread like a plague, no songs, no pride, only whispers of fear on Earth. People finally heard the truth. Leaders announced the victory with measured words, not boasting, not laughing, only steady pride. Crowds gathered in the streets, cheering, crying, some holding banners that read, "We survived." The soldiers returning from orbit were not met with parades, but with silent respect. Families embraced them with tears, knowing what they had faced. Pilot Elena walked down the ramp of her ship, her uniform scorched, her face pale with exhaustion. A crowd waited. They reached out to touch her arm, her shoulder, their eyes wide with awe. She whispered to them, "We fought and we won." Her words spread through the people like fire. But far beyond Earth, in the hidden corners of the galaxy, empires began to whisper darker thoughts. In the frozen halls of the reptilian empire, admirals hissed in anger. They cannot be allowed to rise, cocoon in the vast libraries of the avian scholars. Feathers shook as they recorded the truth. The humans have changed the balance forever. In the insectoid hives, warriors clicked their mandibles in fear. We laughed. But now they will laugh last. Back in the council chamber, meetings stretched through endless nights. Voices shouted, "We must crush them now." Others trembled. "No, we cannot risk another fleet. Not until we understand." The insectoid leader banged his claw. Humanity is a threat, and threats must be erased, but his words were weak, his authority shaken. The aquatic elder spoke again, his voice steady. "You cannot erase them. They warned us, they showed us, and you chose arrogance. Now the galaxy must choose respect or ruin." His words hung heavy in the air throughout neutral space. Smaller species who had always feared the great empires now turned their eyes to Earth. Some whispered with hope. Perhaps humanity will protect us. Others whispered in fear. Perhaps they will destroy us too. But all agreed on one thing. Humanity could no longer be ignored in hidden human command rooms. Generals reviewed the battle again and again, their faces calm but their eyes dark. One whispered, "The Council will not forgive this. More fleets will come." The ambassador stood with them, his voice steady. "Let them come. We are ready." Pilot Elena sat alone in her quarters, staring at the stars, her hands still trembling from the battle. She whispered to herself, "They thought we were children. But now the galaxy sees the truth." She closed her eyes, and for the first time she allowed a single tear to fall. Not of fear but of pride. The galaxy did not sleep. In every system, in every empire, fear spread like fire. Fear of a small blue planet on the edge of the stars. Fear of a species once mocked as weak, now known as the destroyers of fleets. And as the whispers grew, one phrase echoed everywhere. From the smallest moons to the grandest empires, humanity warned them, and humanity was right. The rise of humanity. The galaxy could no longer laugh. The ashes of the first fleet still drifted above Earth. Broken hulls glowed as monuments of arrogance destroyed. No empire, no council, no admiral could deny the truth. Humanity had stood against the proudest armada of the stars, and humanity had won in the council chamber. The insectoid leader's throne stood dim, once polished plates now dull. His mandibles clicked in frustration. They should not exist as equals. They should not rise. But his voice was weak, his authority cracked. Every eye in the chamber turned toward the shimmering elder of the aquatic species. His calm voice echoed, "They are not rising. They have risen." News of the battle spread like wildfire. Small species who had lived in fear of empires now looked to Earth with awe. Merchants whispered, "Perhaps humanity will keep the council honest." Miners in forgotten colonies raised toasts to the Deathworlders, saying, "Someone finally made the arrogant bleed." And in training halls across the galaxy, young soldiers whispered the name of the weapon that had shattered pride. Railguns on Earth, silence turned to celebration. Not wild or boastful, but proud. Families lit candles for the lost. Streets filled with quiet processions carrying banners that read, "We endured." The soldiers returned, scarred but alive, greeted by tears and embraces. Pilot Elena stood among them, her uniform burned, her eyes shining with both exhaustion and pride. When asked how they won, she simply said, "We remembered who we are in orbit." The graveyard of alien ships was not cleared away. Instead, humanity left it drifting, a warning to all who would mock them again. Generals called it the shield of silence, a wall of wreckage that told the galaxy, "This is what happens when you underestimate us." The ambassador, once mocked in the council chamber, now stood before the leaders of Earth, his voice calm but heavy with meaning. They will return stronger, angrier, but no matter what fleets they send, humanity will not bow. The galaxy knows our name now. They will never forget it, and indeed, far across the stars, in the darkest halls of the empires, leaders debated in hushed voices. If we fight again, we may lose again. If we ally with them, we admit weakness. If we ignore them, their power will only grow. The galaxy had no answer, because the galaxy had never faced a death world that refused to die. The aquatic elder returned to his homeworld. His people gathered, asking what the humans were like. His old eyes shimmered as he whispered, "They are not what we thought. They are iron wrapped in flesh. They are fire hidden in silence. They are the storm no one expected." His words became legend among his kind in the insectoid empire. Songs of victory fell silent. Their people asked, "How did primitives break us?" And none had the courage to answer. In the reptilian empire, mothers whispered to hatchlings, "Do not mock the humans, for their silence is deadly." In avian academies, scholars rewrote books, pages filled with new chapters titled, "The Rise of Earth Above the Planet." Human fleets expanded, more ships built, more railguns forged. Humanity did not celebrate with arrogance. They prepared with discipline. Engineers whispered in shipyards, "If the council mocked us once, they will strike again, and we will be ready." Pilot Elena stood on the deck of her ship, staring at the stars, her voice soft. "We were alone, mocked, underestimated. But now they all see us." She turned to her crew, their faces lit with determination. "This is only the beginning." And across the galaxy, whispers grew into shouts. Some of fear, some of respect, but none of mockery. The Deathworlders had earned their place. Humanity had carved its name into the stars with steel and fire. In the council chamber, silence reigned. Gone were the echoes of cruel laughter. Gone were the voices mocking railguns. Now there was only unease, and one truth that none could deny: humanity had risen, and the galaxy would never be the same.